Rush Style, Travis Thomas, George Balekji, where we talk all things Pats and all things NFL. What's going on, GB?
You had me almost draw off sides with that. Dude, happy to be
here.
here.
Hard count there.
Finally debuting Foxboro Rush.
Yes.
An honor to be here with you. But, you know, my favorite thing to talk, A, football.
Yes.
B, the draft. So what a debut episode for us. Love what the Pats did over the weekend. We'll get all into that.
Yeah.
But once again, I just want to say here on Foxboro Rush, we're talking everything New England Patriots all year round, not just during the season. Make sure to follow us on all social media, on X, Instagram, TikTok, what have you, for Nesson, for Travis Thomas, for George Balekji, myself. Tweet at us what you want to hear, what you want us to cover on this podcast. We'll do everything Patriots for you guys and everything NFL, too. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, George, I mean, listen, the Patriots' entire draft class really, except the exception of one corner, focused in on offense here. And I think, I mean, there's nowhere to go, George, but up. When you are ranked dead last in the NFL offensively, good for you to focus in on the draft on the offensive side of the ball, especially since, you know, publicly saying we have cash, we want to burn it in free agency. And you didn't,
don't do it.
Yeah, you didn't really do it, did you? You did a little bit, but you didn't do much. So you certainly didn't burn all the cash. That's for damn sure. So I look at this draft class, and I say kudos to you, Patriots. But we know the creme de la creme of the draft class is quarterback Drake Maye. It is now a new day. The Drake Maye era has begun. Let's just talk about what he brings to the team, both as a player, but also, George, as a person. I mean, this kid is a lot of fun, man. And I said this to you. You know, I told you, I said, I'm looking forward to this new regime here of the Patriots because for years we had crotchety, curmudgeon-y Bill Belichick, who never told you anything, didn't want to talk to you, didn't even want to see the media, George, let alone talk to you.
Now he's a part of it.
Now he's a part of it. Go figure. And oh, my God, the stories and he's just chumming it up. And, I mean, where was this? Well, whatevs. That's old news, yesterday's paper. Now you look at a head coach that talks maybe too much in Gerard Mayo. You know, you get this kid in Drake Maye who has a big personality. In fact, I want you to watch this clip of his brothers just giving him the business, George, just ribbing the kid and how much fun he was having. Check this out.
Pretty boy. Overrated.
Serious? Are you serious? I was getting emotional for a sec, but now I'm laughing now. Who let him say that?
I love that. I love that. He's afraid of heights. I mean, we're learning all this stuff about this kid. He's interesting. He's fun. He can ball. So let's talk about, yes, we see he brings a personality, George, but tell me what he brings on the field, too. Give me, you know, everyone talks about this Drake Maye upside. Give me the upside. Let's talk about best case scenario for this young man.
Well, best case scenario is Justin Herbert or Josh Allen, just smaller and not as athletic, but still a rocket arm.
Yeah.
Great with the deep ball, can hit every layer of the defense, make all the throws. And some people overthink that, which means he might not be a good quarterback because he can make all the throws, but if this is a guy that hits his ceiling, then the Patriots have a franchise quarterback, A, B, a top 5, top 10 talent in the NFL for years to come.
Wow.
This is why it's such an important draft, but especially this top 3 pick, why it's so important that the Patriots get it right in his development and surrounding him with talent and the right types of players to build around him, because this can set the franchise up for the next 10 years, or they'll be in the same spot 5 years from now, possibly. But what I like about Drake Maye, just 21 years old, so still very moldable as an NFL quarterback and prospect. 26 starts under his belt, 16 career interceptions, most of those earned. He had 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions 2 years ago, then 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions his last year in college. But his last year at UNC, lost his offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, to Wisconsin, who got a new head coach over there. Lost both wide receivers to the NFL. Didn't have a good offensive line in UNC, but stuck with Mac Brown because he said this too. I was reading this in a piece to ESPN. All this change happened in North Carolina, and Drake Maye went right into Mac Brown's office. He goes, I'm not leaving. I know the NIL stuff. People are recruiting me. I'm not going anywhere.
Wow.
And what Mac Brown shared about Drake Maye, which I liked, is the type of leader he is. Yes, it's all about Drake Maye. He's the quarterback. He's the star of the show. And in the NIL world, he got his money. But
Right.
any deal that came his way, he said, okay, cool, I'll do this, but I want my wide receivers to get paid and be in this ad with me. Oh, this seafood restaurant wants to give me free food for a year, but I want my offensive line with me, and you got to feed them too. It's not just about him. It's about everyone around him. And I think it's super important because what this draft is setting up for the Patriots too, first-year head coach, first-year de facto general manager, completely new era, no Bill Belichick, no Tom Brady.
Right.
First time an offensive coordinator is calling the plays. You have to set the culture and reset it in the Patriots locker room. What they did with this draft, Drake Maye, high character guy. Jalen Polk, high character. Caden Wallace is a project. Layden Robinson, Javon Baker, a lot of high character guys, good for the culture. Because think about how old this roster is as well. David Andrews, he's 31. Hunter Henry, 29. Juwan Bentley getting up there in age. Dietrich Wise getting up there in age. Those are all team captains. So these guys they drafted this year are the future leaders of the team. So you have to get it right in this draft. But to focus on Drake Maye, 6'4", 230, elite arm talent, giving him a high ceiling, stands tall in the pocket, can take hits, gets back up, deliver throws, poised under pressure. But the knocks on him, his processing speed. If his first read isn't there, then he starts to rush and gets flustered. Gunslinger, needs to drop bad habits, needs to protect the football, live to play another day. If you clean up his footwork when you're the Patriots, I'm talking about T.C. McCartney and I'm talking about Alex Van Pelt, then the accuracy will follow. The more resolved, the better quarterback will come through. Got to figure out his fundamentals, got to figure out his mechanics. But what I like that the Patriots did, if you're drafting a quarterback at 3, they went with Drake Maye. They went with the highest ceiling out of the prospects remaining in this draft. J.J. McCarthy could step in and start right now. Higher floor, much lower ceiling. Drake Maye, you develop him, you mold him, you let Jacoby Brissett start, you let Drake Maye figure out life in the NFL. And then if you strike gold with him, you are set for the next 10 years. The Patriots did it right by taking him in this draft, and then with the Jalen Polk and the Javon Baker picks, go with receivers that fit his game. 2 guys that are reliable over the middle, which is Drake Maye's favorite area of the field to attack, good at tracking balls downfield, big catch radius, strong hands, can go up and get it, good with contested catches, and just smart route runners, knows how to get open, cater to your rookie quarterback strength, and bring the 3 of them into New England this year, the chemistry will develop over the years as well.
Yeah, and who the hell knows if you even have a wide receiver 1. But to your point,
give me plenty of wide receivers
that's
too.
right. Give him an embarrassment of riches as far as guys he can go to. Doesn't necessarily need an alpha right now in the developmental stage, although it never hurts to have one. But you have time to go out and get that guy. Let the current guys you have grow with Drake Maye. I completely agree with that. Listen, I'll be honest. I don't actually think he needs as long as many people think to sit and learn and clean up some of those fundamental things you were talking about. I'll be honest with you, George. I mean, the way this defense looks for New England, I think I'm willing to roll with Jacoby Brissett for sure the first month of the season. And then if you're sticking in games, you're winning some games you didn't think they would, they're shocking you. They're hanging in all of them. With that defense, you would think they're going to be in a lot of these games, a lot of close games here, no blowouts. I'm going to tell you, if you're within contention at all after a month or 6 weeks of the season, I'm going to start personally banging that Drake Maye drum because, look, I think you bring the kid in. I don't want baptism by fire week 1. I get that. But I think we're going to see enough flashes in preseason to see that this kid can play. I think we're going to get great reports out of training camp about his athleticism, his personality that we spoke to. George, call me crazy. I know you will, and I am. But I would not hate to see certain packages before you go to him as a starter where maybe he comes in, certainly red zone. A guy like him, I see how you're looking at me. A guy like him, dual threat with his feet, he gives you that ability. George, let me ask you a question. When is the last time you have watched the Patriot offense and thought, man, that was creative, that was cool,
Cam
that was
Newton
fun,
in 2020,
right?
when they had to revamp the whole offense around a guy that couldn't throw the ball
That's what I'm
further
saying.
than 7 yards downfield.
Bro, I was falling. This is our job. And I was falling asleep watching Patriots
awful
games
last
last
few
year
years.
because the offense was atrocious.
Yeah.
So now I got this exciting young kid who I can bring in. Not saying he has to start right away, But if you start bringing him in red zone packages, almost i.e. Wildcat-ish, you bring him in, he is dual threat. Oh, my God, the defense has to pay attention to that. You give him some little morsels there, right? Little bite size. You give him small sample sizes to get used to the ebbs and flow of the game, the speed of all these kids talk about the speed of the pros compared to the college. Well, you're giving them a chance to get some live action here. Come in for a couple plays, try to score a touchdown for us. He gets in the end zone a few times, which I'm sure he will, with that arm of those legs, George. The confidence is there. I am telling you, I want to bring him along slowly.
Yes.
I do want patience. Everything you preach, brother, I'm saying amen to your gospel. But I also believe this kid is good enough. Get him in there. Work him in. Get him some reps. And go to him sooner rather than later.
You're understanding my gospel, but you're inserting your own verse from the book of Drake, which I understand. But you have to temper expectations in New England. Because if he comes out week 4 before he's really ready to play and then runs some nice package using his athleticism and his arm strength to zip a ball in and throw a touchdown.
What's wrong with that?
When they're losing in week 5 and 6 and the Drake May chants start in Gillette Stadium and Robert Kraft wakes up in his owner's suite and he realizes their fans are chanting for him and he sees it half empty, he goes, put him in. And if your offensive line's not ready, if he's not ready, you let those bad habits build up and you don't let him really progress as a quarterback fundamentally, then you can crap away the next year or two. You have to get it right, and you can't take 1 step forward, 3 steps back because you rush him into the field. But I understand what you're saying. Give me 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Give me maybe the last 3 games of the season. Put in Drake May.
What?
Let him learn from the speed of the game. This is a multi-year rebuild, Travis. Think about it like this. They went out and took 2 offensive linemen. Layden Robinson, who's a guard, and is now their 4th guard taken in the last 3 drafts. Because with Cole Strange, Antonio Mafi, and City So, that was an old regime. Yes, there's Jake Andrews in there as well, center, guard, what have you. Again, a Bill Belichick pick. You bring in Robinson, who fits either a gap run or a zone scheme, which is Alex Van Pelt. But now this is the new head honchos in charge. And then there's Caden Wallace, who had 40 career starts at Penn State at right tackle. The other left tackle, Chuck Okorafor, played in the NFL for 6 years, 4,000 career snaps at right tackle, 2 at left tackle. You still don't have a left tackle. I don't know what your offensive line looks like. You have all this cap space. You should have used someone, Jonah Williams. Then I would say, yeah, go ahead, bring in Drake May. You got the right receivers. You have some offensive linemen. It's still going to take multiple drafts to rebuild this team because you have overlays from the Matt Patricia era, a la Tyquan Thornton taken with the 50th pick. Then you have overlays from the Bill O'Brien era, and think about it like that. Your top 3 picks in that draft went to the defensive side of the ball. It's going to take multiple years, multiple free agency classes, multiple drafts to get this offense right, but make sure Drake May is right and it's ready to hold a rookie or a second-year quarterback that's 21 or 22. You can't screw this up because you'll be in the same place in 4 years. You don't have the offensive scheme. You have a first-time play caller as an offensive coordinator, first-time head coach, a guy that's about to have his 2nd season as a quarterback's coach in the NFL.
George.
A mishmash of an offensive line, a bunch of wide receiver 2s. Don't mess up
is
Drake
why
May
you gotta,
because if you hit on it, it works.
George,
don't rush it.
No one learns the way you're saying. You got to get in there. You got to get some action, baby. You're
Jordan
right.
Love.
No, you're right. Now I have opened up a competing church across the street from yours. Now we're we're a completely different gospels. You're absolutely right.
You're Scientology.
I was with you. I was with you first. Now I'm out. You say things like, we have new head honchos in charge. Do you want them all fired? Because that's what it sounds like.
Well,
you don't want to. Wait a minute. You don't want to play Drake May to the last 3 games of the season?
Yeah, I don't want to mess that up.
Fired, George. George, you got to play this guy before then, brother.
No.
What happens? You play him the last 3 games of the season. He's set all year. He's ready now. Get him in there. Let's see what we got. And he goes 3-0, and he's lights out. Know what's going to happen? Robert Kraft's going to say, hey, ma'am, we got something with this kid. You're all fired.
No.
Because you waited too damn long to play him. We could have been a playoff team. You got to get this kid in there when he's ready. Now, where we definitely both agree, you and I can yell at each other all year, and we will. Where we can agree, though, is your talent evaluators, your coaches, the players, the people that are there every day, they see this kid working, they're going to have the final choice of when he's ready, the final decision of when he's ready. Drake Maye himself putting in the work, which we all believe he will. But, George, I can't go into this season predetermined. I'm not playing him until the last my ass because everyone's going to get fired, George.
No, but they're not. You think Robert Kraft that preaches kumbaya and said with Bill Belichick retiring, they found an elegant solution to it all. You think that guy's going to go ahead and clean house of his front office? Now, given Elliott Wolf doesn't have job security as of right now. Like, he might not be the GM at the moment, and no one knows that because it was his job to be the GM up to the draft, and then they would reassess from there. But the point being, Robert Kraft isn't going to fire them, but Elliott Wolf knows that his job is tied to this rookie quarterback and developing him. Yeah, sure, if he's ready week 12, week 13, that's fine, but be patient and don't rush him in there. This is still a bottom 10 roster in the NFL. It was bottom 5 coming into the draft. These are all prospects. They're unproven commodities. You don't know if they're actually good. So let's say if they're good, nice, you got a bunch of rookies lifting you up. Your offensive line still sucks. It's still a bottom 10 roster. This is a team that has to play the long game more than the short game. And if you go in, play Drake Maye, cool. You have something there, awesome. You're still playing for high draft picks. And to go ahead and, again, you're going to be a bad team. A top 15 pick in next year's draft won't be the worst thing ever when you still need offensive line help. You need help in the secondary, up front on the edge, and offensive line as well. Just don't rush Drake Maye, because if you get this right, then you're the Los Angeles Chargers with Justin Herbert and one of the most talented arms in the league. You're the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. You have to get this right, and you can't mess it up.
All right, let's go to chopping block now, because I'm looking at this quarterback room. I'm looking at this wide receiver room.
Packed.
I mean, someone ain't going to make it here, George. Look, the obvious, Captain Obvious to me is Bailey Zappe's done. Right? I mean, listen, I get it. Joe Milton is a project. He was taken in the 6th round. But just the drafting of him by itself, George, signaled to me that Bailey Zappe era is over. And then wide receivers, I have no idea. I'll be honest with you, George. I know it's going to cost the team some money. I wanted to cut Juju Smith-Schuster's ass last season. Now you're drafting all these kids at wideout. I really want to cut him now. And since you didn't burn any cash really in free agency, I mean, I guess you got it to burn to tell Juju to get lost, because that's where I'm at with this kid. Who do you kind of see from those positions, quarterback and wide receiver, both crowded, as I said, on the depth chart? Who do you see not making the cut, literally?
Obviously, Drake Maye's making the cut, 3rd overall pick, no doubt.
Course.
Jacoby Brissett, that's your starter week 1. He's making the cut. It could still be between Bailey Zappe and Joe Milton. I'll get Nathan Rourke out of there. But Bailey Zappe comes in, undersized, but had success the last 2 years. If he could come in, I mean, he ran Matt Patricia's system to some success. He ran Bill O'Brien's system to some success. So if he impresses Alex Van Pelt, then he's looking at Bailey Zappe or Joe Milton. Joe Milton very well could be a practice squad quarterback.
No.
And then Bailey Zappe could be your emergency 3rd quarterback on game days. So I'm not fully sure how that room could be settled. But what I give with the drafting of Drake Maye and Joe Milton, Joe Milton is a 6th round draft pick. So basically a flyer pick, an undrafted free agent. But what you have with those two is Drake Maye, massive arm, good athlete, can make every throw. Joe Milton, good athlete, massive arm, throws an okay deep ball placements all over the place, doesn't really comprehend to take the gimme throws, live to play another down.
Yeah.
But if you can develop Joe Milton, and he's really, really a project for this team, say you put in Joe Milton for Drake Maye, your offense won't take a misstep because of the arm strength from him. But it's a matter of can he play in that system? That's what it boils down to. So quarterback-wise, it will be between Bailey Zappe and Joe Milton for that final spot on the roster. Bailey Zappe, too. What can you be like in a quarterback room? You saw how it was like to not be treated well by the starting quarterback. And I'm talking about reports coming out that Bailey Zappe would have to watch quarterback film in the wide receivers room because the tension would be so high because Mac Jones literally would not talk to him when they were still in New England. Me watching with my own eyes at practice, they'd be doing a drill, and when it's time for Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe to pass each other, Mac Jones would go the long route, see a tackling dummy, pretend to punch it so he could avoid Bailey Zappe. Those guys taking different elevators in the same building to avoid each other. So Bailey Zappe saw how not to be treated. How are you going to treat this rookie who, Bailey Zappi went from, I hope I make the team, to, oh, man, I could be a starter, to, I lost my job. No chance I'm a starter now. How are you going to treat Drake May?
Yeah.
Wide receivers, KJ Osborne, you're on the team. Obviously, they went out and signed him.
course.
Kendrick Bourne coming off a torn ACL, restructured his deal, but he's still a really good player. Could be a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 at best. He's staying. Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, you're staying. Pop Douglas, Demario Douglas, undersized but good in the slot, you're staying. Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kayshon Boutte, those are the final 3. Bootie's dealing with the gambling issues and all that.
That's right.
Asked if he's off the team. You didn't get a definitive yes, but I think Kayshon Boutie's the odd man out.
Yep.
Tyquan Thornton, you won't lose any money. Really, if you cut him, you'd save
Still
money, but it would
young.
be like pennies on the dollar. He's still a field stretcher.
Still
He
young.
put on weight this offseason.
Yeah.
See what he brings to the table. With Juju Smith-Schuster, if he plays this year, he'll be $10 million against the cap. If you cut him, he'll be $12 million against the cap.
Great.
So only eating $2 million. You have $54 million in cap, the most
Cut
in
him.
the NFL. You cut Juju Smith-Schuster, you don't lose anything. It's just a matter of what's the leadership like in the locker room. For Juju, I don't care if he's here or not, because what we saw with his knee, with his leg last year,
Yeah.
I mean, from training camp, you saw him, lack of a better term, with zero juice. He brought nothing to the offensive game. Pop Douglas, a 6th-round rookie out of Liberty, played better receiver than him.
Right.
So I'm fine with Juju Smith going because he doesn't really bring much to the table. But then it comes into who are the leaders in that wide receiver room? How healthy is Kendrick Bourne come week 1, and can he play? And same with Kayshon Boutte. What does he do with everything he's dealing with off the field?
Brother, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, even when Juju was healthy, I didn't see any explosion
No,
from
there
him.
was
His
nothing
best
there.
years with Pittsburgh, he wasn't some explosive player. And then you talk about leadership. He's not a leader. Look, if he's healthy, what am I really getting from Juju anyway? I didn't love the signing from day one, George, okay? So I'm not getting some explosive player when healthy, and he's never been a leader, ever, in his career. Now, he's not as immature as he once was, sure. I'll give you that. Someone could say, okay, he's more mature than ever, but no one's ever going to mistake Juju Smith-Schuster as some leader. I'm getting rid of him, and I thought the cap hit was going to be much worse. You just broke down the numbers. That's it. That's all I got to eat.
$2 million is all they
Get him
have
out
to
of
eat,
here,
not
bro. You
$20
got the
million.
money. Get him out of here.
It's a matter of what the depth is like. What does
Yeah.
his knee look like? And again, though, Juju Smith-Schuster was a free agency signing from the old regiment.
know.
So you look at his time, I mean, gosh, 11 games played.
Bro.
These numbers sound made up. Not the 11 games played. 29 receptions for 260 yards and 1 touchdown. Those are terrible numbers. Hunter Henry was better than him. Pop Douglas was better than him. Kendrick Bourne, who played only 8 games, had a better year. Oh, Zeke Elliott had more receiving yards than Juju Smith-Schuster.
There you go. I mean,
So that's how it goes.
bro.
And what I do like, though, because we were talking solely about the wide receivers, breaking down those numbers.
Yeah.
But if you look at the pass catchers, the weapons, think about how they set up this offense. You have Hunter Henry coming back. You have Austin Hooper, who has pre-existing experience in this offense under Alex Van Pelt. Nice. Those are your tight ends. You got Jaheim Bell in the 7th round, who is an H-back, a playmaker. Go watch San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Juszczyk, a.k.a. Juice, and how they use them. That will be Jaheim Bell with the New England Patriots, and he can learn behind 2 consummate pros in Henry and Austin Hooper. And don't forget Antonio Gibson as a 3rd down back.
Yeah.
Can pass block.
Yes, he can.
Can pass catch.
Yep.
Can run routes. Didn't work as a RB1 in Washington, but you have Ramondre Stevenson. There's so many more weapons to work with right now in this offense for this year and next year. So if you lose a Juju Smith-Schuster, you certainly don't lose that many options, because how are you going to use a Jaheim Bell, who's slower but just gets open and is basically what Juju was, slower receiver, catch a ball, make plays happen after the catch. Bell is better than that at Juju Smith-Schuster at this current spot. So I wouldn't miss him at all on the Patriots.
That's all I'm saying. I would much rather have a young group of wideouts who someone's going to have to rise to the top and be the guy, be the alpha.
I got
and I'd rather figure that out, George,
Yeah.
than to have a young group of wide receivers led by Juju Smith-Schuster.
I got to say this. My favorite receiver on this team, I do love Jalen Polk's game. Smart route runner, gets open. Yes, he played off Roma Dunze, but still, he had over 1,000 receiving yards.
Productive.
Along with Jalen McMillan and Roma Dunze. Very productive, good at tracking the deep ball, comfortable over the middle. Like I said, him and Javon Baker, these are the receivers that play into Drake May's strength.
That's right.
Build the offense around Drake May. Look at the Green Bay Packers. Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave.
Wow.
They have a bunch of pass catchers. Luke Musgrave being a tight end. Get a bunch of wide receiver twos. Give your quarterback options. Let them learn the system. Javon Baker, though, that's the guy they wanted Devontae Parker to be. Boundary receiver, can win on contested catches, good deep ball, not a burner, but go up and get it and just come down with the ball. Think about it like this, too. I just love his quotes. He was asked, what should Patriots fans expect? First his answer was, mentality just to kill whoever is on the other side of me. Love that in a receiver. Then he said this, just to the fans, just come to the home stadium and bring your popcorn. I make people in wheelchairs stand up. So the Patriots are getting Jesus Christ 2.0 and Javon Baker. Can make miracles happen. Just, let's learn a little better, be more sensitive to what people are going through to say stuff like that. But entertaining quote, if anything, for Javon Baker.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have much humility to his game. That's for damn sure. We'll see what he does on the football field.
That quote reads like The Onion.
Yeah, right?
I saw that. I was like, oh, that's the quote of the draft right
All right, let's go to NFL draft grades here. I already talked about I love this Patriots draft class. I really do. Now, I don't know, obviously outside of Drake Maye, I don't know who's going to kind of rise to the top. And we look back years from now and say player X was an absolute stud in that Patriots draft. Certainly, we're all anticipating Drake Maye to be that. But there could be others as well, and we talked about a few of them here. So I would give an A to the Patriots right out of the gate. Not an A+, not an A-, just a solid A. You can be happy with that. And then I'm going Cardinals here. I mean, George, coming into the draft, this team had 12 picks, right? And so they had more picks than any other team. So I already thought coming into this, let's see what they do with all these damn picks, because that's a roster that has a ton of holes in it, George. And if you look at the division right now, the NFC West, yes, the 49ers are the standard, but how many more damn Super Bowls can you lose? I mean, all they do is win the division, top seed in the NFC, run through the playoffs, get to the Super Bowl, and lose. Okay, I saw it against the Ravens, Mahomes twice. So I'm looking at this now like at some point, Shanahan, Lynch, all these so-called geniuses are going to be starting to be held accountable. So if it's a stock, I'm starting to sell. I might not sell all of it, but I'm starting to sell off my Niner stock.
Ooh.
Meanwhile,
I'll hold on to mine.
Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford getting older. Aaron Donald gone, retired. So, yeah, I love Sean McVay, but the Rams now starting to get a little bit older there, a little long in the tooth. I just think Seattle, new coach, Geno Smith, still your quarterback. Still a stopgap guy, and they don't have a real quarterback of the future yet. That's where I thought Penix should have ended up. So I'm looking at the Cardinals like you can make some hay here with all of these picks. We understand Marvin Harrison Jr., duh. But again, George, take the names out, and I just go positions here. Wide receiver, edge rusher, corner, running back, offensive tackle, tight end, corner, safety, edge rusher, another offensive tackle, another wide receiver, corner. That is filling out the roster 101. And by the way, a lot of these names are big-name guys that you liked and you had evaluated high. I think the Cardinals deserve an A in this draft. No one's really talking about them outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. I get it, but watch out for the Cardinals. With Kyler Murray, a capable quarterback, that team's headed in the right direction, George, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think with the Cardinals, they get the number 2 overall prospect in this draft, Marvin Harrison Jr. Think about what they add late in the draft. Tippmann, the tight end out of Illinois.
That's right.
Red zone target for Kyler Murray. Building this offense, really going heavy in the line of scrimmage, and that's what they need to do, even going running back in certain spots. And just, I like what they did in this draft of filling it out, who they took at certain spots, and just building it around, getting good defensive backs, getting good edge players on the line of scrimmage as well. You graded the Patriots. You gave them an A?
Yeah.
You're an easy grader, dude. Easy grade. I give them a B-. And I think it's with the Caden Wallace draft. You could have traded up, gotten Kingsley Suamataia. I think there were spots to be aggressive and times to sit back. Drake Maye, that's an A. I grade that draft pick A, obviously. You took the best quarterback available at that spot. Javon Baker, that's an A. But offensive line, I still don't know what your plan is at left tackle, and you're kind of years away. But, so that's why I give the Patriots a B-. Falcons, I go C+, just because You take Penix 8th overall.
Yeah.
And I understand the long-term play because you have Kirk Cousins, but first 2 years is really when it's guaranteed. $90 million in 2 years,
Right.
$10 million guaranteed the rest of that contract. If you cut Kirk Cousins or trade him, you save $32.5 million after year 2. And then Penix steps in, rookie scale contract, plays with these young receivers. But why not trade back, get more picks, and then get Michael Penix at 11th or 12th because of the Broncos or the Vikings sitting there? I liked what they did then, though. 3 straight picks, all addressing a defensive line. To me, the one that caught my eye is the Eagles. I give them an A. I mean, you hire Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator. Nick Sirianni needs to have a coming-to-Jesus moment looking at himself and how he handled the locker room. But Kenyon Mitchell out of Toledo, the first pick, falling to them at 22. Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa, in the second round. That's 2 cornerbacks they picked that did not allow a single touchdown in 2023. And DeJean can line up in the slot, outside, go to safety. It's just very versatile to be used for Fangio. Even going Jalix Hunt, Anaya Smith, Jeremiah Trotter playing the hits on that one. We'll see how that goes. But I like what the Eagles did. I give them an A just because the offense is settled. You go and get a wide receiver like Anaya Smith who doesn't drop anything. But also, before the draft, you lock up A.J. Brown, pay him again, keep him happy. You have Devontae Smith. Offense is taken care of. I still think they need to start looking at tackles to really, because as their guys are getting older in Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. But beyond that, offense is taken care of. Quarterback is taken care of. Get this defense right and continue building off that line of scrimmage. You have Nolan Smith. You have Javon Carter. Jalix Hunt, he's athletic. He's explosive. He can learn behind the studs you already have on this team. You got Bryce Huff in the offseason as well. Continue to build on this team. I really like what the Eagles did in this draft.
For all the latest on the Red Sox, check out TC on 310 to Left. Check out the full episode on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcast. George, let's keep it rocking here with the rookies now in the NFL from the NFL draft. So let's play fill in the blank. I'll read this. You fill in the blank for me. Blank will lead rookie QBs in passing yards this season.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
You have 3 wide receiver ones. You have a good offensive line, a great play caller in Shane Waldron, a good running back in DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet, and Gerald Everett at tight end. Everything's there for him. Everything's built for him. This isn't a normal number 1 overall pick situation. This is a 9th overall pick situation. And honestly, this team is better than that. They just really couldn't figure out the defense until midway through the year when they got Montez Sweat.
Right.
And really figure out the offense until they finally got rid of Luke Getsy. You bring in Shane Waldron, who resurrected Geno Smith's career. You draft Roma Dunze, who's ready to be a wide receiver 1 on a team right now, but only has to be a wide receiver 3 at best.
Yeah.
It's going to be Caleb Williams. If I don't go Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and that's another no dub, but it's also because, yes, I like a situation going from Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. had a lot of talent around him, but now you have Terry McLaurin, you have Jahan Dotson, they get Luke McCaffrey, they get Sanat out of Kansas State. So giving them the weapons as well, I just worry about that offensive line. But to me, the easy answer here is Caleb Williams. Should stay healthy, should be good, and he certainly has a talent around him.
Bro, I completely agree. You know how I feel about Caleb. I think it's Caleb Williams as well. I'll say this about J.J. McCarthy, though. We don't really know. It's so easy for all of us to sit back and say, well, he was a game manager at Michigan. That's what was asked of him. We really don't know. This guy is a highly touted 5-star recruit coming out of high school who won on the high school level. He gets to Michigan. Harbaugh's Harbaugh. He had Andrew Luck. He has Justin Herbert now. He's had Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick. All these guys he really kind of asked the same thing of. I don't want you to be the center of the show, the star of the show, the center of attention. We want you to complement what we do offensively. There are going to be games that you can go off. But for the most part, Jim Harbaugh asks his quarterbacks to just be efficient. That's what J.J. McCarthy was at Michigan, and he won at the highest level. Now he gets to the league. George, the perfect fit. You have been saying this all along. You were all over McCarthy. You said you didn't buy the hype that he was going to go 2 or 3. You called that. You never believed it. You said, quote, it's lying season right now, and you were right. You also said, though, the best spot, the best fit for J.J. McCarthy is the Vikings.
Yeah.
With Kevin O'Connell, with Justin Jefferson, with an offensive line there. I mean, on that fast track on turf, this kid could take us all by storm here. I believe the answer to this is Caleb Williams. But I would not be shocked for a second if J.J. McCarthy goes and just puts up these video game numbers and we're all looking dumb. It's just because we didn't know. It's not that we were hating. We just haven't seen him do it. But, George, it's not – he could be capable of doing this. That's not inconceivable to me.
I actually really do like that answer a lot because to me the obvious answer is Caleb Williams. But J.J. McCarthy wouldn't shock me because of the situation he lands in. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, great offensive line, and one of the best play callers and quarterback developers in Kevin O'Connell as his head coach. The system will be there. It will never leave him because KOC won't leave as a head coach there. That's a guy that comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, a branch off the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. And look what he did with Kirk Cousins. Healthy. 4,500-yard seasons from him when he was on track to do the same thing as well last year before he goes down with a torn Achilles. Look at what all those guys in the backup quarterbacks that stepped in and executed under Kevin O'Connell. J.J. McCarthy right now is a better pro quarterback than any of the backup quarterbacks they've had there. His ceiling is low, but his floor is low. You come in, that's a more athletic Alex Smith playing in that system.
That's right.
And in a dome. I really do like that J.J. McCarthy call. This was his best landing spot. We were just talking about draft grades. I give the Vikings an A2 because you get a quarterback, a starting quarterback on a rookie contract. So now you could pay Justin Jefferson at the 11th pick, and then you let Danielle Hunter walk in free agency. You're bringing Jonathan Greenard from the Houston Texans, but then you draft Dallas Turner to play opposite of him. You give those pieces to Brian Flores. The Vikings crush the first round, which you do if you have two top 17 picks. But most of all, they got the right quarterback at 11. They didn't get cute and take Bo Nix. They didn't get cute and wait till later. No, they got J.J. McCarthy, who fell to them, so credit to them for that to work, and they made it happen.
No doubt. All right, Blank will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'll go Caleb here, not just because of the numbers, George, which we just talked about, we both believe he will have, but it sounds like you and I are on the same page here. I do believe in the Detroit Lions. I do believe, although I need to see it consistently, I do believe that the Green Bay Packers are for real. They're going to be right there too. The Vikings, I think, will take a while, even though we both think J.J. McCarthy could ball. They still have some issues defensively they got to work out. George, I am at the point now, although I don't think they'll win the division, I am concretely solid now that I believe the Chicago Bears are going to be a wild card team in the NFC. And because of that,
they're a playoff team.
And because of that, Caleb Williams will win Rookie of the Year. But keep your eye on Xavier Worthy, who, I mean, the rich get richer. Patrick Mahomes and that kid are going to be special, George. No one knew the hell who Rashee Rice was, right? And now we see the decision-making that's going on off the field. We don't even need to get into that. But Xavier Worthy now, with that guy at quarterback, you have got to think they are going to be magic. But I'll go Caleb here.
I like that Xavier Worthy call. I'm kind of thinking outside the box like you, though. Lad McConkey with the Chargers.
Okay.
You only have to compete with Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston, who Josh Palmer's always hurt but talented.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston, you don't know what you're going to get with him.
Right.
But you have Justin Herbert to work with. They got an offensive line and Joe Alt to play opposite of Rashawn Slater. So, you know, Herbert's going to be upright. McConkey, you're the only weapon. Maybe he sets some rookie records. Maybe he's one of the top receivers in the league from a yardage and touchdown standpoint just because he's the only guy in that offense. Given they're going to be running the heck out of the ball. But, again, if you're the only receiver on the team, like, why would it not be McConkey, who, again, is a steps-in, NFL-ready receiver right now? Xavier Worthy, I think you need to work and wait a little with him. But understand with the speed upside, that's Tyreek Hill 2.0.
Right.
He's not the same type of vertical threat, and literally vertical as in leaping ability to go up and get the ball. But you give him the ball, makes one tackler miss, and he's gone. And also with your Xavier Worthy play on this one, too, with the new kick return rules, he's a returner.
That's right.
He's going to have a lot more opportunities. He mixes in 2, 3, 4 kick return touchdowns and has about 8 or 9 receiving as well, playing with Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
And just being consistent and not being a bonehead. I had to think of a different word there. Off the field.
You clean that up.
Then he does a lot for them. But I also like the Lad McConkey idea just because you have a great quarterback, you're his only receiver, and you step in as the best receiver on that team.
Well, you know, Foxboro Rush is a family program, so I appreciate that you clean that up. Yes. All right, Blank will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Look, obviously, you got to think Dallas Turner, maybe Jared Verse, who you know I love, the pass rushers always. I'm going to go outside the box here. I'm going Quinyon Mitchell. And you talked about him earlier. I mean, the Eagles, the fact he was even there for the Eagles to take, back into that first round was amazing to me. Kid out of Toledo, the corner. I think he's an absolute stud. That was an area of need, obviously, for the Eagles. Their secondary was a mess. I think this kid is a shutdown corner in this league. I love he's big, he's physical, he can move, he's tenacious, he's got that dog in him, he's a ball hawk, he can do it all. He just went to Toledo, so I don't know if that's why he dropped or what. I don't give a damn. He's a baller, and the Eagles get all those primetime games, all eyes on the Eagles. Look, the first couple times he shuts down CeeDee Lamb, you're going to hear the talks about him for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'll go Quinyon Mitchell.
I'm going Dallas Turner, and I just think you get to the Vikings at 17 overall.
Yeah.
You step into the Danielle Hunter role. We saw what Will Anderson Jr. did as a rookie. That's why I'm going with the edge rusher here to win Rookie of the Year. And no duh. I mean, he's a chalk point if you look at some certain sports books. But it's also he will be playing for Brian Flores, who is as aggressive as they come when it comes to being a defensive coordinator. Will use Dallas Turner to all of his ability. And that's going to be a team protecting a lot of leads, pin his ears back, get a ton of sacks, make it all happen on the edge. A freak of an athlete that blew up the pocket every time, his entire time at Tuscaloosa. And he was playing with good cornerbacks, obviously in Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold, but not great quarterbacks. Those guys were more zone than man. I just think with Brian Flores as your defensive coordinator, dialing up the pressure, putting them in situations to be successful, and because of the leads he'll be protecting, I just think he's the best player on this defense. Give me Dallas Turner win Rookie of the Year. But I like the Quinyon Mitchell play also because you're working with Vic Fangio. You fell down to that draft slot. You come in, chip on your shoulder. You're playing opposite of Cooper DeJean. Great pass rush in front of you, too. I mean, this kid is set up for success. A lot of experience on that defense. They had to revamp it, but up front will bring the pressure, and Mitchell on the back end can just feast as a cornerback because balls have to come out quick, not on time because the pressure is forcing it, and he'll come down with turnovers.
Blank will have the worst rookie season out of the 2024 draft class. It's got to be Michael Penix Jr. It's not even his damn fault.
Let's go with someone that's going to play. How about someone that's going to play?
Well, right. He's going to have the worst because he's not going to play for 2 years, George. I hate this. I'm a Michael Penix Jr. I'm the president of the Michael Penix Jr. fan club. I can't believe all the momentum this guy has had from college football. And now he has to sit for 2 years? I mean, come on, bro. He's got the worst deal out of everyone. I don't care what anyone thinks.
I go Malik Neighbors. Because
really, you like him?
I love him, but he's playing with Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito. So,
touche.
Right, he's their only weapon, and he's elite, and he's so explosive on the outside. And I was talking about Ladd McConkey, right? But
yeah.
Ladd McConkey has Justin Herbert.
Right.
Roma Dunze has Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Think about these other top-tier receivers and where they went, where you look at for Malik Neighbors. I mean, it's Danny Dimes, who knows how healthy he'll be. Also, how good will that offensive line be? Like, the Giants had to have a chalk draft. They're still dealing with everything that Dave Gettleman left them with, which was nothing and absolutely nothing. But I just think Neighbors because of his quarterback situation. If not Malik Neighbors, I just go Bo Nix because I just really don't think he's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
he's smart with the ball. Good for him being with Sean Payton, but that offensive line isn't that great. Only got a year older with Mike McGlinchey being a key piece in that. You lose Jerry Jeudy to the Browns. It's Cortland Sutton. It's Josh Reynolds. It's a lot of turnover, and it's still a team that's cash-strapped because of how much they have to pay Russell Wilson and not play for them. So I just think Bo Nix is the latest Broncos quarterback to get churned in and out.
All right, let's put a bow on the draft. Best and worst moments. I have a laundry list here, my friend. I'll go through them quickly. Best, Detroit. I mean, Detroit looked great. They were turned up. That crowd was awesome. Good for them. 6 quarterbacks in the first round. I called it. When I originally said that, everyone thought I was nuts. I am nuts, but I was right. All 6 went early, too. Yeah. Top 15. The worst, I'm sick and tired of the TV taking all the time from these teams. I used to think it was the teams letting the clock go down to 0 before they made their pick. Come to find out, it's television that's asking them, hey, wait, so how long do you see the pick is in on your G-damn screen before the commissioner or someone comes up and makes the announcement? It's because the TV shows are saying to wait, hold up, stop, pause. We're not ready yet. Then you got to tap dance around and wait for all these guys. It's driving me nuts. Just make the pick already.
So I got two. I'm just going to go best moments on this one. Jonah Laulu, 7th-round pick by the Indianapolis Colts. When Chris Ballard called him, he thought it was a prank call. And he said, I know you're probably getting a lot of people recruiting him. If they call you, tell them to kiss your ass. You're an Indianapolis Colt. I love that from a GM. And then also for the Rams, Jared Verse was their 1st-round pick.
Yes.
Braden Fisk from Florida State was their 2nd pick. So you get 2 teammates from Florida State, and we saw that clip go out. Les Snead, Sean McVay's on the phone, and then Jared Verse literally gets off the bus while they're on the phone with Fisk. He calls him and lets him know he's coming to LA. I think that's awesome. I'm a sucker for the phone call moments in the NFL draft.
I love it. That's it for the first Foxboro Rush. We'll be back to do it again. Travis, Thomas, George Balekji. We'll see you next time. Peace.